but just because it was overloaded, not because it was truly weak. And a lot of times that happens with sprinters. Like a sprinter will come in and I'll meet the guy, right? And the guy's like, yeah, I just saw this physio and yeah, my hamstrings are really weak. I'm like, your hamstrings? You're a sprinter. Like, how could they be weak? Like you were just at the Olympic Games last year. Like, how can you have weak hamstrings? And then you test the guy's glutes and it's like he's got no stability up there, right? And so anyway, so you get into that, right? So just some food for thought. Like when you're testing these guys in the next couple weeks, is it weak because it's really weak or it's overloaded? This is my favorite, okay? So basically, we're going to sort of keep this to the ground of it here. So we've sort of discussed the side planks. My favorite exercise, I've had to rehab my own back now twice extensively. And exercises during core training I find that are really beneficial are side crunches. Has anyone done side crunches?
Can you just show us?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Does anyone?
We probably do.
Okay. So actually this is where it can get a little bit technical. Yeah. So I'll basically like to set up like this. And then, so what I do is, and you guys have probably done it and you've seen other people do it, where they'll do a crunch or a side crunch like this. So they'll be like, yeah, like, you know, this is really easy. Well, it's really easy because you're not eccentrically loading the muscle. You actually have to go around the ball and come up. But you don't come all the way up. Because if you come all the way up, you're going to activate the deep muscles in your low back and you end up killing your back. So basically, a true crunch or a true side crunch is like 40, 45 degrees of extension and only about 30 degrees of flexion. Because if you go past 30 degrees of flexion, you're going to start activating those deep flexor muscles that will create a lot of back pain. Okay, so you can start here and you're going to go right around the ball and you're going to come up like that. That's basically, that would be a side crunch right there like that. Okay, you don't have to come all the way up like that and the ball squirts out and you hurt yourself, right? Like you go right around and you come up to here. You go right around and you come up to here, you know, and then it's the same thing for a crunch. So we've got, I'm not going to get into this just yet, but so we've got our side planks to isolate. We've got some side crunches to integrate a little bit. We've talked about doing some standing twists. You can line your back and do some windshield washers where you like basically your legs are going back and forth. You've seen those. I like bending because there's less hip flexor. And what else we got? Probably locked it pretty good. Yeah, we don't have to be carried away. All right. So any questions there with the obliques and the side crunches?
So
Yes.
what do you recommend for reps and sets? For
Bang! Perfect question.
So
That's a perfect question.
do you go to fatigue? Do you build up?
This is great. This is great. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this because this is an hour's worth, but this is my favorite now in rehab. I'm running out of room. Accumulation. Accumulation is training. Okay? So let's take a small number. This is a great question actually. You take a small number and let's say we're only going to do 5 side crunches a day. But we're going to do them every day. What do we got over a month? It's a big number. We're into the hundreds. 5 a day. And you look a month down the road and you're over 100 side crunches a month. But you're not only training for a month, you guys are probably training 11 months of the year. So, you don't have to. You guys are running way too much to do 20, to do 30, to do, like, you guys could start your workout and do, like 5 glute bridges and one set of, say, 8 side crunches, and then the next day, if you're committed to sticking to the plan, you can do the same thing, and then 4 days later, you change the circuit. But it only has to be like 2 or 3 exercises times your 5 to 8 reps. So it's gonna be easier to figure out why you get hurt if you do get hurt. Well, I'm doing core and this is what I'm doing. Okay, how much have you been doing? Well, I've only been doing 5. Okay, so it's not overloaded. We know that. So that's kind of how you should start to try to think about the importance of accumulation. And I know Dick's really, we joke about Dick all the time.
I don't.
But his biggest strength in training is understanding where you need to be in 8 months from now. I think that's his biggest strength, is understanding and giving you guys the right workouts so that you're where you need to be on those 8 months. So if you guys are paying attention to this yourself, away from the track, because there's so many things you guys can be doing away from the track to get better. It's that one little thing. It's that one little thing. Like, accumulation is so powerful. And I'm telling you guys, I had my back surgery November 16th. It was a Friday. And by the 5th day, I decided, you know what? If I can't bring myself back, then I can't be here talking to you guys, because I really wouldn't have much merit to it. So what I decided to do was, I started deep abdominal breathing on the Tuesday, so 4 or 5 days later, I was doing deep abdominal breathing. And with the abdominal breathing, I would like walk forward 5 feet, walk backward 5 feet, walk sideways 5 feet, walk sideways 5 feet, and I did that for the first 4 days. Every day I did it, sometimes twice a day. And then I slowly started to incorporate all these things, and then I got like 2-3 months down the road, and I'm actually doing massages going like, I can't even feel my back anymore. So, if I'm an old washed up guy at 38 years old having back surgery, and all you guys are like 20 years old with no injuries, no serious injuries, and you do a little bit all the time, like, it's gonna work. You know, it's gonna work. And I mean, because of resources and time, like when I was your age, I never had the chance to do any of the stuff you guys are doing. I didn't even run on this track all the time. I was running on a dirt road. I was, you know, in Whitefish, like chasing rabbits, you know? But really try to pay attention to the accumulation part. I'm kind of getting off the abs a bit because this is actually really important, but accumulation, like I work with these Olympic runners at, like, you know, whatever, 1-2 days a week. And in our room, this might be a good idea here, but in our room that we have, say this size, there's a massive cold tub for those guys, and I'm telling you that they all have cold tubs after all of their workouts. Hard workouts and recovery workouts. Those guys are in the tub. Why is that funny? No, you don't know, it's crazy though.
Girls get that.
But really, like, I'm telling you guys, like, if you guys want to get to your goals and do what you want to do, then you got to be willing to, like, to lay it out there and then do these little things. Self-massage, cold tubs, 5 crunches every day, a massage once a week or twice a week if you can afford it, or once a month, or like whatever you guys can do to manage, you know, really try and get it out there.
The Laurentian girls know the cold tub very well, Tony.
Perfect, that's perfect, that's right, good, that's
Yes.
good. That's good, okay. So we've done the lower abs, we've done the obliques, we've touched on some accumulation. Does anybody have any questions? There's not going to be a bad question. Darren's proven that. They've all been good. They've all been good. But it was like 1992 we were at the Ontario Summer Games, wasn't it? That's a long time ago.
These kids were born.
Who was born? You weren't born?
None of them.
Oh man, we're watched. We're watched right now. I love this guy.
I think one of my, Tony,
You get gray hair back.
one,
Let's change the subject.
one of our challenges, one of our challenges in coaching the team is that, number one, you've got the medicine ball exercise there, but we've got oftentimes 25 girls on the track at the same time. So we can't have them all working with a medicine ball because we simply don't have enough. We do some stuff with surgical tubing, but you know, I think what we need is some exercises that we can do when it might be rainy outside. We can't go down into a horizontal position on the track where we don't really have the ability to use medicine balls with everybody.
Perfect. Good question. Another good question. So what you do there is it's quite simple. So if you have 15 runners, now you've got 3 stations, or you've got 5 stations with 3. So as coaches, you can say, okay, we're going to do, we'll do lower abs, we'll do back extension off the floor, we'll do a reverse lunge, we'll do a side plank, bang, there's your circuit. Okay, your group is here, your group is here, your group is here, and we're going to cycle that around twice.
Okay.
So that we only need 1 ball or 2 balls, or maybe you don't need the med ball, maybe you need 5 tubes. Like, you're going to just condense your amount of supplies.
Okay.
So that's what I would do. I would work it around in stations, Dick.
Okay.
And that's a good question because I'm kind of going more at the abs here. I'm trying not to throw too much at you guys, but another secret other than the accumulation is, in my mind, everything's a sling. So remember we were talking about like the hip flexors and the low abs? So if you're looking at a distance runner's posture typically, right? I can't figure out why my foot's killing me, but like my head is pulling me so far forward that my feet have to flex into the ground a little bit. If you're gonna train the front, you have to train the back, right? So everything's a sling. Everything's a sling. Everything's a sling in the hip and the glute, the shoulder, the neck, the back of the neck, even the calf and the foot. Like, so everything's a sling. So when you guys are doing your circuits, do a low ab, do a glute, do an oblique, do a mid back, do a crunch, do a neck. There's 6 exercises. Everything's a sling.
Tony, what's your best, speaking of flat butts, I'm thinking of I don't have any in my high school group here, but all the distance guys I coach.
Yes.
You know, they have no ass, like there's
Yes.
no muscle.
Yeah, it happens.
And you know, no,
It's not funny. It's actually good. This is actually quite good. This is good.
So, what is your, your 5 exercises, your 5 reps a day for glute, for isolating? First we'll talk about glute max. We do a lot of work on glute knee. We do a lot of single leg stance, working on balance, working on proprioception. But for glute max, it's hard to isolate in runners because their hamstrings always kick in, right?
Yes.
Most distance runners got nice developed hamstrings because they have
Yes.
no ass, because they have to
Yes.
compensate, right? So,
Yes.
do you have some glute max exercises you like to do, whether with a ball, without a ball, or any suggestions?
Okay,
you
I'm
have?
going to throw this at you specifically because you're the one that's going to be able to execute this. You're going to get what I'm talking about. My pure milk secret with that is, because like a lot of times what happens, Darren, is like, guys will come up to you and they'll go like, coach, I'm doing all these things, like my hamstrings are getting tighter or my back's getting tighter or something, like something's going on, right? And they're getting treatment and they can't figure out, well, I'm getting this treatment, like I don't know, why are we not progressing? I have truly believed through my own research, my own trial and errors, that you basically, you want to, kind of comfy. But Darren, you've done this a million times in your practice where you basically just get them to turn the glute on,
Yeah.
right? Okay, but watch this. So if I get them to do that, the problem is they're turning the muscle off as the muscle's getting longer. They're just contracting it and shutting it off. So the minute they bear weight down, there's no eccentric load relationship, right? So what you want to do is you want to contract holding 10 seconds, bring it down nice and slow, contract holding 10 seconds, bring it down nice and slow, contract, and then, so you do like 5 each side, alternate, so you do 10 reps per set. But that's the first exercise they do before they do any glutes, okay? Because they're not activating their glute, but they're doing a walking lunge, so they're still stabilizing with their hamstring. Like the brain hasn't even had a chance yet to it's gonna shut off somewhere because the gait cycle and distance running doesn't promote a lot of that hip extension, right? So they gotta create it themselves. And that's, for me, what I've noticed in the Brooks Marathon project. That's what I was doing with all those guys. It would be like, you know what? Let's release the stomach and the groin, loosen up the SI joint a little bit, and then let's turn the glute on. Like that's like for a therapist or even self-care, that's 20 minutes worth of work, right? A couple times a week. And I really think you'll get better results. I really do.
What do you think of single leg squats, just even without weights, just putting the one foot on?
Yeah, yeah.
You're trying to isolate that glute where you're just simply, even with a bar, just trying to isolate that.
Yeah. And I like that. Yeah, I like that, Darren. And I like that because on the leg that's actually being loaded with weight, that's where you want to do the counting, the tempo.
Yeah.
So the tempo is huge. So you're actually going to go, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. Because you're going to in track, because when you plant, there's that eccentric load. A lot of times everyone's training the wrong contraction. They're training the concentric load, not the eccentric load. So if you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, That's actually more sport specific than loading a lot of weight on. And, well, I can't figure out what's going on here, right? Like we do that in our hockey program. Like the hockey guys, when they start in May with us, Darren, we're gonna do these types of little exercises for 4 weeks as their primary program before we move them into the real lifting. Okay? So with inexperienced athletes from like a weight training perspective, you probably want to carry that even into 2 months.
It's also an exercise we can do is 20.
Absolutely, yeah.
We don't need
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Absolutely. So the eccentric load is huge. That's what I would say. Like if you're gonna spend any time on strengthening, it would be the eccentric load. A lot of it is like, because a lot of times it's like they plant and there's no stability and then boom, like that. So they lose that strength through there, so then they can't push forward, right? And I don't care if you're distance running, I don't care if you're sprinting, skating, whatever. Your power is coming from the push, not from the pull, right? You have to push. So coaches, if I can't push because I'm so tight through here, then is it realistic to think that I'm actually going to be able to recruit any fibers back here? No, because the sling in the front is way too tight. I can't even recruit it. You're going to sit from here and you're going to push from your foot and you're going to blow your Achilles and you go, well, what happened? I had back pain, right? So, I don't know, that's just to kind of, anyway, help, but, so we're going to go to the crunches here, and again, the crunches are, those smoothies are killing, I don't know if it's spelling right anymore. Okay, so crunches, and the reason why I put this last, guys, I don't know how much you guys want to listen to me for, but I always put this last in a circuit because of what I've already talked about. I don't want to promote any more flexion than I need to, okay? So crunches are everyone's favorite, right, because it looks great, but the reality is, and this is even for chest, like, if I'm overtraining the front, then I'm really not going to look that good because it's like shortening the muscle, and everybody wants it to look good. So you actually have to like open it up and get longer, and it's the same thing for your stomach. So if my low back is weak and my abs are really strong, like I'm not really going to have much of a six pack because I'm hunched over all the time. So yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing as a side crunch as you would with just a regular crunch. I lost a six pack last night. Not my own. Anyways, okay, guys. So you're gonna start here. Or sorry, yeah. If this is neutral, then you don't just want to come up like that and then go down. You wanna go past and come up to 30 and go down. And you know what's great, guys, is you can actually do this movement with the med ball too, right? So even though you've got the med ball here, you catch the med ball. You come down, you only have to throw it and come here, and then you're ready to catch it. You're actually already stable to receive that. You're not up high and you're gonna pinch your low back. Okay? So you're gonna start here, you can throw it up, wait here, catch it, bring it down, and you're gonna come right back. You're gonna come back, but you're not gonna pop your ribs up and relax and hurt your lower back. You're gonna stay nice and stable and go down and come up. And go down and come up. Any sprinters here? Jumpers, sprinters, yeah. That's really important because when you're jumping and you're sprinting, you have to have that eccentric load in your stomach to handle the force that you're moving forward. So if you're like this, then you're gonna just keep moving forward. You're not gonna be able to get that extension. So that's why it's important to like lengthen those muscles too, okay? Front planks are okay, they're good. You can do front planks and crunches, and you can do like an integrated plank. I don't know if you guys have seen the integrated plank stuff. It's kind of cool. But like an integrated plank would be, you know, instead of on your elbows, you're on your hands, and you go here, hold that, there, hold that. You're kind of integrated. You can even walk sideways if you want. You know, you can integrated planks. So you can do that too. What else we got here? Any questions? No questions? So,
Big topic.
yeah.
We do a lot of traveling, especially with the university team. Well, everybody does. University team are often on the road, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row kind of thing. And when we travel a long time, so we could be anywhere from 6 hours to 8 hours in a bus or sometimes even in a van. We get out of the van, and I know people are all locked up and tight. And what would you recommend upon leaving the van to get people loosened up enough to have sort of a restful sleep and then to be productive next day when they actually compete?
I actually think that, especially if your guys are going to groups, what are you looking at, Moss? Like 15 people, 10 people? 10?
With the university cross-country team, it's about 15-ish.
Say 15, okay, perfect. So again, you guys can do the same thing with the travel stuff as you would race. Maybe you are doing a couple lunge twists just to kind of open up the hip flexors, or you're doing like some alternate leg swings to loosen up the hamstrings. Really try to get away from what everybody else is doing and focus on what works. And warming up here is a great rehearsal for that. You don't have to wait until race day and a travel day to figure out what you need to do. You can test out 3 or 4 different ways. You can try the softball before a workout. And if it works great for you, then keep doing it. But if it doesn't work good for you, then forget it. But you can try it here in practice before you get to that OUs or CIs or whatever, and then go, that guy told me this, I can't do anything today. So try to do that. Like rehearse that stuff on your own. You can rehearse hot tub, cold tub the night before, or cold tub the night before, or hot tub the night before, and your body's going to respond different than mine might. So it's really, really important to do your own. You really have to manage your own stuff. So everyone's kind of tired there, I think. So any questions, guys? Like from any of the athletes? Like, did I cover what you wanted to hear, or did you have any questions or? Any questions? None, eh?
Yeah, you do.
So I did well? Yeah, okay. What event do you do?
Triple jump.
Triple no.
He's having a tough time with the hip flexors.
Okay.
A lot of back pain.
Okay, perfect. So, and I'm not trying to pick on you.
Pick on him.
Pick on
What's
them.
great is,
He's also grown 9 inches in a year.
okay, this is better. This is better. So we're going to do everything we just said. We're going to open it up. We're going to activate this and that. But what you can do is they've actually they did a study. Maybe it was I think the study was in New Zealand, and they put athletes in in a back extension, right? But it was like parallel with the floor. So it wasn't. You know how you got the one where you're like in this position and you kind of go up and down, and then there's another one where it's parallel with the ground and you go up. Well, the one where it's parallel, what they did was they did a test with athletes, and what they found was. Athletes, and I think you fall into this category specifically, athletes that can't hold that back extension for 2 minutes typically are more susceptible to lower body injuries because they don't have the spinal stability. And I'm saying this because I know he's a bit younger, but the study was actually done for athletes who were holding a 25-pound plate. Okay? So the athletes had a 25-pound plate, they were trying to hold a back extension position. And the ones that failed typically were the ones that had the injuries. And I'm gonna say her name because she doesn't really care anymore. She's retired. But Tara Quinn Smith, back in 09, 08, 09, between 07 to 2011, she was probably our best distance runner in the country. She ran a 2:33 marathon. She ran a 15:38 5K. She ran just crazy times, 31-minute 10K. I don't know, but she was absolutely rocking. But Tara had cracked her pelvis. She had an Achilles issue. She had there was issues all over the place. And that's when I just found out about this study. And I said, Tara, why don't we try this test? I want to try this with you. And I was doing a treatment on her that day, so I already opened up the front of her body. And instead of finding a back extension machine, I just hung her off the end of my massage table and I held her legs. And I said, just bear with me. She's like, what are we doing? This is crazy. I'm like, just hang on. So anyway, we hung her off the table and she was holding it. Our best distance runner in the country could only hold herself for 1 minute and 10 seconds with no weight. I said, Tara, how do you expect to go under 2:30 in a marathon if you can't hold yourself upright for 1.5 minutes? So for someone like yourself who's growing and your body's changing, get good at those types of isometric movements. Get really strong and focus on the posture, especially with him. Before I'd have him do any lifting at all, there'd be a corrective exercise circuit, Darren, with weights too. So like, you know, like the T exercises and the Ys and the Ws, like I would work him up to like, you know, 3-pound dumbbells or 5-pound dumbbells before I actually had him doing like rows. And for anyone who's ever done these like T's, Y's, and W's, like 5 pounds, if you're doing 5 pounds, it's actually, you're a monster. It's really hard because you have to activate everything. Like you're not just going like this, you're not just waving it, like you gotta squeeze it like that, right? So just some food for thought there with the upper body stuff. Okay, this is really cool, but if I have an answer, if my head is placed forward like that, every inch your head is forward, your body has to compensate for 10 pounds of that weight. So if you have a 10-pound head and you're an inch forward, you're already at 20 pounds of compensating down in your feet. Okay? So if I'm doing my core training, now we can start plugging this together because we understand. But if I'm doing my core training, now I can do my lower abs and do some T's, and I can do my obliques and do some Y's, and I can do my crunches and do some W's, and now all of a sudden, now I'm going to start to straighten myself up. And when I straighten myself up, what's really cool, guys, this is really cool. If your arm goes back, and Dick's going to be able to help me, to back me up here, if your elbow goes back, that knee's coming up higher because now you're getting more extension on both sides, upper and lower. Okay? So try to, especially for you, and Darren, if you could work with them, like work with them with the T's and the Y's and the W's and even a neck bridge off the ball. Just to like get that swing, like almost like, you know, coach the body like this is neutral, but because he's like this, he's gonna meet right here. So, yeah, kind of just.
Plantar fasciitis, any tips?
I don't know, I'm a huge believer in it's always pelvis first. I've had the most results, the best chronic results with pelvis first, and I think I can back this up by saying that, you know, a lot of times athletes will get their plantar fasciitis treated, and it's chronic because there's so much emphasis in the foot that the root of the problem actually hasn't been cleared up, and that fasciitis just keeps flaring up, and then you're doing tape jobs, ankle jobs, you're doing, you know, all kinds of, you're getting crazy with all these ankle exercises, and oftentimes it's coming from above. So the fasciitis tip would be like pelvis first and then see what's going down on the foot. You know,
By pelvis, what do you mean by pelvis?
well, you know, like SI joint stability, what the lower abdomen and the groin is saying. Like I said, even up in the shoulders too, right? Sometimes guys will be like, my foot's been killing me for, you know, 2 months, and then and you've learned this in practice, but you get a couple weeks down the road and all of a sudden you found out he like separated his shoulder or got into a car accident like 4 months ago, and it's like this, so it's the opposite side. So like what's going on, that's my point, it's just what's going on above the foot. Yeah, so.
Now, in terms of, you know, say you get that corrected, in terms of acute treatment, what sort of modalities would you use?
I guess it just depends what they have accessible to them. Like, I mean, if they're on their own, like I was living out in Panache, I mean, you basically got like, you know, you've got, you know, a wooden rolling pin and you got ice, and, you know, a big ice application for me, I think sometimes gets underlooked is, you know, wrap the ice on the foot or wrap the ice on the calf or both even with some heat on the groin and just get your leg up on the wall just to flush that out specifically. Because a lot of times people, they use the cold bucket and they sit there in the bucket and then like all the blood is kind of just going that way, and that's where the inflammation is. So, you know, wrap the foot and wrap the calf with some heat on your groin, and the heat's actually going to suck a lot of the inflammation away from that area, and then just kind of elevate it and see how that works for self-care, right?
Cool.
So, what else we got? Any questions? Pardon you? Okay. You have plantar fasciitis? Lots of stuff.
Tony, what's glute medius strengthening? We have them do, trying to get it coined to your mind, just because I want to retire. So we do a lot of single leg stance and standing, just trying to get people aware in the pelvis. We challenge them by having them go down.
Yeah.
And we do quite a few of those, and we have, I call it stick it. So they got, after they do 12, they actually have to stick it here, and then they do another set of 12. trying to get that burn going through the glute med, trying to keep the lower extremity alignment as close as we can to neutral. But do you have any other tips for glute med strengthening that you like to do, or with some of the distance runners that you've had? Because it's
you specifically there. This is it's a good conversation, but you can combine the obliques with the glute med stuff. So you could say, you could do a side plank and then integrate that. You can stand up with your foot with toe in slightly, and then just bring it out. Boom, 1, 2, 3, in nice and slow. Out, 1, 2, 3, in nice and slow, and then something like that too. You're isolating it first before you're integrating everything, right? So kind of like I say to my clients, we're going to start in kindergarten, right? So kindergarten would be lying on the floor doing this, right? And then this would be more, or even the clamps. And then so grade 8 would be more like this, and then university would be like with a band and you're walking sideways. So that's how I would. Yeah, that's how I would do it. And I say that to all my clients because guys will be like, I'm doing all these wood chops, but like my obliques, they're not firing. Well, why aren't you just starting here first, right? So that's what I would do. I would start there. That might be a little bit too much maybe for some, especially if they're already tight through there. You're gonna overstimulate that, and maybe just bang like this, and then you're gonna like that first, and then okay, now let's try that. That could be a circuit right there. Okay, right? Yeah. 6:30 almost.
Yep.
Everyone done with me?
Any more questions?
Can you just explain that T, Y, and W thing?
Yeah, it's good. It's neat because the T's, Y's, and W's you can do on a mat or you can do on the ball. Okay, so it's like Dick said, with you guys go on the road a lot, and you guys race out of town, and you guys have to drive pretty far. So that really sucks. I was driving up here last night going. I said to my wife, I'm like, Don, it's nice up there, but I don't miss this part at all. Because we were driving through traffic, right? We had to wiggle through Barrie. It took us an hour and 15 minutes to get
the
there.
sinkhole. You didn't get stuck in the sinkhole.
Pardon?
You didn't get stuck in the sinkhole. Did you hear?
No.
It's a sinkhole on the 400 miles.
Really?
We have 2 passing lane one way, and there was a sinkhole between 88 and 89. I thought you might have.
We were already on a dirt road going around it, probably. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, what's your name?
I'm Dominic.
Dominic. Okay, so we'll do this off the ball because you're here normally, right? You can, I guess, to start because you're, a beginner at doing this. And this is again you can go off the wall to start, right? So you can go off the wall to start, and this ball actually needs air, bad. Or maybe I'm just too big, which might also be the problem here. But okay, so you basically, this is all going to be shoulder blade retraction. So you're not going to do that. You're going to squeeze first and then bring that up. That would be a T. Okay. And I don't want you like that, or I don't want you like that, because it happens, right? Because the neck is weak, right? I don't want you like that. Try to imagine. You'll probably never forget this analogy, but try to imagine that you've got a rod from your bottom of your tailbone right up through the top of your head, and that's going to keep you, it's going to keep you nice and straight like that, and you're going to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2,
No, he's really good.
3, 4, 5, right?
I thought you were going to insert that.
2,
Don't take a video. Or Wilson might get an idea.
5. Okay, so right there, Dominic, I just did all 3.
Yeah.
And I did, again, it's accumulation, I did 5. Because you're starting, you can only start at maybe 3, start at 3. And you can do 2 sets of 3 of each, right? Just so that you're doing it perfect, right? Perfect practice. So you can do that off the ball. Was that really good?
Yeah.
Hang on, it's a surgery. My spine's frozen, that's why I was
There's no air in the ball.
The ball was trouble though, eh?
Yeah, he's got 2 rods.
So again, guys, you can do that on the ball, and then when you're on the road, you guys are gonna sit. And that's actually pretty neat. But so you guys are gonna sit like this in the van, and you're gonna be on your iPad or something, and maybe you're playing cards, and you're like this, and then you get out of the van, and you're like, my back's killing me. Well, your back's been long for 5 hours. So maybe you just go into your hotel room, and you can do it off the floor too, where, you know, you're off the floor, and you're just, you know, like that. Right? Like that. I'm working
Can
out
you
too
name them,
much.
Tony, just so they know what they're?
Pardon me?
Can you name them again?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, so T,
Because they don't all know the alphabet. So.
especially the university types, yeah. Okay, so T, then you've got your Y's, and then you've got basically your W. Wherever you're gonna end your formation, that's the letter, right? So we've got our W's, you know, we've got our T's, we've got our Y's. Okay? Before I go, I'm gonna give you my favorite low back exercise. Because this is actually a way where you could stretch out like the whole front of your body. And this is gonna look like really weak, but it's hard. It's really, really hard. And I want you guys to know this exercise and execute it perfect. And I don't care if you're a sprinter, a hockey player, distance runner, swimmer. I love this one. This one's great. So you're gonna get on the floor on your stomach, and yeah. So you're gonna get on the floor. So you're right on the floor, and I like to get my feet right up against the wall. So I'm gonna. Has this floor been swept since like '92?
No.
It's a construction zone right now.
I'm like breathing all kinds of dust. Like I'm gonna have an allergy problem.
Keep your tongue in your mouth, that's all.
Okay, so try to imagine I'm lying flat on the floor here, guys, and I'm gonna reach out as far as I can. It's almost like a dive. Okay, so you're gonna be like this. Your head is actually gonna go between your biceps, and you're gonna come up as one unit and down as one unit. So you're not gonna like neck first or hands first, but you're gonna come up and you're just gonna go 1, 2. Like if you do 10 of those, you're gonna be able to feel that, like even in your stomach, okay? And again, we're trying to get rid of this, right? So, I'm not really so anal about the eccentric load because a lot of people are already like this anyway, so there's already an eccentric load. So I'm gonna eliminate the eccentric load and just get you to come up, just to pull yourself back, just to loosen this up, and you can do like TYW off the floor, and then just get into that position and then do like 10 of those. And that's an upper body circuit right there, or posterior chain circuit.
Are you coming up as high as you can when you do that?
Well, no, you're not gonna over exaggerate the movement, but honestly, Dick, most people in here will like struggle to sort of get up right away, and then once they start to feel like what the movement is, because you're actually like turning on the whole back of your body, right? So once you so by like the second set or the second time you do it, then you're gonna come up. And I don't know if I would come up so high as to where you're like really squeezing the low back. But the idea really is to just come up as a unit, just to kind of turn all those muscles on. It's not really to, you know, we can get into a ton of fun things with these exercises, but maybe that's for another visit. I can maybe start plugging in some little circuits that have helped athletes out better in your sport. But that's my favorite one. Like that's my favorite one because I think that one is just like having disc problems as long as I've had. Like that's really kind of saved me when I really needed something. It's good.
Okay, any more questions? If not, I'd just like to thank Tony for being here and for doing this excellent presentation. Thank you very much. And I might have a little smoothie for you.